And that result now means that Chelsea are 10 points behind the leaders Manchester City, and Liverpool sit just 1 point behind them, but they have a game in hand. So that's how it stands at the moment. Jamie, in terms of what that did to the title race, I won't be so negative as to say it's over now, but it does make it very difficult, doesn't it? Do you think so?
It's well and truly over. I mean, Liverpool had to win that game. It's impossible, I think, for teams to come back in because... Liverpool just, they're conceding too many goals. Chelsea concede too many goals. And Man City go to these teams and they go away from home and they get results. They're not going to drop 10 points, Man City. You're joking, aren't you? They're dominating the league. They're dominating everyone. So for me, the Premier League is over. It's going to be a formality this season. Especially now Liverpool lose Mane and Salah, which ain't going to help them. And I just don't think Chelsea are anywhere near good enough at the moment, especially with the Lukaku situation as well. So... focus on the Champions League, I think, now for Liverpool and Chelsea.
What do you think, Ray?
Well, it's going to be very difficult now. Man City, they lose Mahrez going to the African nations, but when you look at their bench, no Foden at the weekend, no Grealish, you've got plenty of players to bring on. Mane and Salah are going to be a massive miss. We all know that at Liverpool. They haven't got the players to replace those guys. But, they'll be looking at it and saying, well, we're obviously not going to give up and we're going to try and get as many points as we can. But will Man City lose 3 games? That's the big question. And I don't think they will. I think they're too strong. They didn't play well at the weekend. They still got a result. And that's why they're so good.
Yeah. And like you say, look, where other teams are going to be torn apart and with players that are going away to AFCON and all that sort of stuff, injuries are building up, COVID cases. Manchester City just seem to have such strength in depth that they can handle these kind of things.
They've got a massive squad, really. You look at their bench, even the young players coming through will have an opportunity. But their strength in depth is unbelievable. And I think they've got one of the best squads probably in Europe, if I'm being honest. If everybody's fit, competition for places is huge. The only players they haven't got is a striker, but they seem to get away with it week in, week out without no striker. Jesus played up there the weekend, who done okay. But if they get Haaland next year as well, I mean, there's a lot of talk about Haaland. Where's he going to be going? Will he come to the Premier League? Will he go to City? Will he go to wherever he's going to go? If they get him next season and keep their players as well, they've got to be massive odds on to win the league next season as well.
Individual moments in that game, Jamie. I want to ask you about one that happened pretty early on. Mane with an elbow to Azpilicueta about 15 seconds in. Yellow card for you or red?
No, it's a red. I mean, let's not beat around the bush. It's a red card. I hate seeing early red cards. I think it ruins the spectacle. I understand that. It's a game that everyone wants to sit down and watch and enjoy. And the referee maybe thought I'll give a yellow, but in the grand scheme of things, it's a dangerous elbow. Azpilicueta has gone up. He's looking at the ball. Mane is leaned into him. It's an elbow straight in the face. He should have got sent off. So. That's the problem at the moment with inconsistencies in the Premier League with referees, and I don't understand why they, even though it's 15 seconds into a game, it should be whether it's 15 seconds or 15 minutes or in the 60th minute. It doesn't matter whether you come out and make a dangerous tackle. Everyone knows if you lead with your elbow straight into someone's face, you get sent off. So he should have gone. He got away with it, and potentially it maybe cost Chelsea the chance of really pushing on for a title challenge, because they had to win that game yesterday for me, Chelsea. They had to go and win that game to make a statement without Lukaku as well. And, they couldn't get it done. I don't know what's happened to Chelsea though, Laura. The defence, when Tuchel first come in, it was like you could never score against them. It was like they just didn't concede. And that's why I said at the start of the season, I tipped them. I think they'll be right thereabouts to win it, because their defensive partnerships and the way they were playing, you couldn't score a goal against them. Now there's mistakes all over the park. They look sort of open when they attack. They look open from counter attacks. It's just not the same Chelsea. I don't know what's happened, but they ain't gonna win games when they're conceding 2 goals every week.
Tuchel will probably say, look, we've been massively affected by injuries. That's what he will say. Your right back, your left back, even though Chilwell wasn't actually the starter at the beginning of the season after the Euros, was he? And actually, it's a pretty good replacement in terms of having Marcos Alonso. But in terms of the other side as well, Azpilicueta coming in, probably not the player at the peak of his powers anymore, because age gets to everyone, doesn't it? So I don't know. Do you think that's a... Yeah, go on. I know. It's still a brilliant back line.
Let's have a look at the starting 11. They got Thiago Silva, Rudiger, Chalobah, who for me has come in as a young player, and Tuchel keeps playing him. But if you actually look back at the last 5 or 6 games, he keeps costing them goals, and it's that young inexperience. I think he's going to be a great player, but when you're pushing for a title, you can't afford to make them mistakes at the back, and he keeps making them. But Tuchel keeps playing him, so I don't know what's going on there. I know he's got injuries, but he keeps putting this young lad in, and he keeps costing him goals. Marcos Alonso, Azpilicueta, Kovacic, Mason Mount, Havertz, Pulisic. Come on, you can't. You talk about injuries and talk about COVID. That's still a team that should be fighting for the title.
Yes, but is it a team that should be beating Liverpool?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you have to try and win them games. You know, they're Champions League winners. They're at home. They should try and win the game. Look, Liverpool are an unbelievable side. Let's not get away from that. And a draw is probably a fair result. But if you want to win the title, which Chelsea want to do, they were title challengers this season. They haven't put up enough of a fight in their moments. In the last 2 months, even though they've had COVID cases and injuries, their squad depth's ridiculous. Look at everyone else's squads, how poor they are and how bare to the bone they've been. Chelsea have got an unbelievable squad. They should still be there. Man City are there. So Chelsea need to be there as well.
Can I ask a question about Romelu Lukaku? So being left out of the team because of his comments quite recently, basically saying that him and the manager aren't on the same page. Was he right to leave him out of that team? And could he have changed the game?
Absolutely right to leave him out. Outrageous comments. It's making the Harry Kane saga in the summer look like small change, isn't it? I mean, ridiculous comments. I can't believe it. And, you know, I heard Alex Crook last night saying, you know, was it that bad what he said? Well, yeah, it is. Chelsea have spent a lot of money on you. They've invested in you, and you've come in and you've basically said that you'd rather be Inter Milan, but you've left because you had to. And one day you want to go back while you're in your prime. I mean, how disrespectful is that to Chelsea and the manager as well? And I think Tuchel absolutely made the right decision to leave him out. I'd fine him 2 weeks' wages as well. I know they're going to have a meeting today, but really poor comments. Mate Ray will probably know this. The only thing I would say, which can get him out of it a little bit, is because it wasn't sanctioned by Chelsea, interviewees, when you do an interview with someone else, it can almost get taken out of context. Like, they've saved that interview for the right moment to put it out because it was done 3 or 4 weeks ago, and then they pick the right moment when it's a huge game coming up at the weekend and that interview comes out. So I feel for him a little bit in that sense, but the comments are really poor. I remember doing an interview once for Spurs when I was at Portsmouth, and a reporter phoned me up, and I was on loan at Portsmouth, and we played Spurs in the semi-final of the FA Cup. And I was on loan, I was a Spurs player, but I was at Portsmouth. I couldn't play in the semi-final, but if Portsmouth beat Spurs, I would have been able to play in the final. A reporter phoned me up and said, do you want Spurs to lose? And me being a young lad, done an interview which was unsanctioned by Spurs. It was stupid of me and naive. I said, yes, because I want to play in the final. I was 20 years of age. I wanted to play in the final for Portsmouth. I wanted to play in the FA Cup final. But because I was young and naive and stupidly thought that wouldn't get taken out of context, of course it did. Spurs comes out, front page of the newspaper, Jamie wants Spurs to lose. And it went down like a lead balloon with Harry Redknapp. He told me to keep my mouth shut. And it looked terrible for me, and I got loads of stick. And I didn't mean it like that. I was just a young lad that wanted to play. And it's the same sort of thing when you do these unsanctioned interviews. It's never goes in your favour because they're looking for a line. They're looking for a headline that can put and go, wow, we've got this. That's why you've got to just stick to doing interviews with your club.
Well, he's certainly experienced enough to know what he's doing, though, Lukaku. If he was only 20, James, he's a little bit different. He's a national player for Belgium. He knows exactly what he was saying. And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with this meeting today, because whether he's going to be involved by Wednesday and not against Spurs, we'll have to wait and see. But there's big problems there anyway to sort out.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Laura Woods, Monday to Wednesday morning 6 till 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.